Okay, welcome everybody to the Red Bear Prepper Net at 6 p.m. Eastern. First off, we would like to give a special thank you for any vets that may be on the channel as it is Memorial Weekend. And also, let's please remember those who have served and sacrificed for this country as well. We would like to give special thanks to them. With that, we're going to go ahead and move forward and start getting people registered for the net. Please let me clear with the last station before calling. I will call and ask again for the next station. At this time, could I please get the first station that would like to register for the net? Please call now.
Good evening, Donna in Montana.
Well, good evening, Donna. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Next caller that would like to register for the net, please go ahead. If you would like to monitor only tonight, that is fine as well. If you would like to register and monitor, all you have to do during registering is let us know that you would like to monitor only. Do we have anybody else that would like to register at this time? Please go ahead. Mike Flop from Colorado. Welcome in, Mud Flat. Glad you're here, brother. Do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net? Please call now. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll pass the mic over to Jim in Montana. Jim, good evening. Uh, Go ahead and let's get our presentation started, I guess, and we'll do some check-ins throughout the night.
Copy that, Red Bear. Hello to everybody who's out there. Okay, tonight we're going to do a new topic, water preparedness. Part 1, and don't let the part thing scare you. There's only a second part to this. Now, water is one of the most important requirements for life, and arguably even more critical than food. And we've talked a lot about food and other things. A person can survive weeks without food, but only a few days without water. We're going to start talking about water preparedness. We'll cover several important topics that will help you plan for saving or having safe water during an emergency. The goal of this discussion is practical preparedness planning. Simple steps anyone can take to ensure they have safe water available. By the end of this discussion, you should understand how to store water, where to find additional water sources, how to recognize unsafe water, and how to filter and purify water so it is safe to drink. Great. As with all of our presentations, this discussion is not meant to be highly technical or highly detailed. The goal is to provide a practical overview and point you toward areas you may want to research further for your own preparedness planning. The topics we will cover: what can cause a water outage, options for storing water, how much water does a person actually need, how long does stored water last, where to find water if supplies run low, how to set up a simple rain catch system, how to recognize when water may be contaminated, and how to filter and purify water. So let's get started. Great. What can cause a water outage? Many people assume water outages only happen during large disasters, but they actually occur more often than people think. Common causes include power outages that shut down pumping stations or private water well pumps, broken water mains, severe storms or natural disasters, frozen pipes during winter, and contamination events that make water unsafe to drink. Even if water continues to flow from your tap, it may not be safe to drink without treatment. You really need to be prepared for these events. Break. Options for storing water. Now, before choosing containers, remember that each person will need a certain amount of water each day. And we'll discuss daily water requirements in the next section. However, a common preparedness guideline is to store, at a minimum, at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Now, there are several practical ways to store water at home. Store-bought water or bottled water is simple and convenient, but can become expensive if storing large quantities. Food-grade water containers are designed for long-term storage and come in sizes ranging from a few gallons to 50 gallons or more. 2-liter soda bottles, juice bottles, or any other food-grade bottles can work well for smaller storage. Great. A tip I just learned, and I've been doing this a long time, was use your empty and clean canning jars to store your water. You have to store the empty canning jars anyway, so use that space to also store some of your emergency water. Large preparedness setups may include water barrels or storage tanks. Now, a common preparedness option is a 55-gallon water barrel. These barrels typically cost around $150 and up, and are about 24 inches in diameter and 36 inches tall. One barrel can store enough water to supply a family of 4 for roughly 2 weeks at the 1 gallon per person per day guideline. Now, before choosing this option, be aware that water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. So a 55-gallon barrel will weigh 440 pounds plus the weight of the barrel. Now, I have provided a few links to water containers on Amazon and videos showing how to move these full barrels in the video description of the expanded presentation. And be sure you have a way to remove the water from the barrel, such as a hand pump, a siphon, or a spigot at the bottom of the barrel. Most preparedness experts recommend storing at least a 2-week supply if possible. I myself recommend at least a month's supply, more if you have the storage space. Great. Now, how much water does a person use per day? In simple terms, 1 gallon per person per day is the bare minimum for survival. 2 to 3 gallons per person per day is a more realistic planning amount when limited sanitation is included. Many people are surprised by how much water they actually use in a day. Water is needed for cooking, drinking, basic hygiene such as brushing teeth and washing hands, minimal cleaning, and basic sanitation. Under normal daily living conditions, the average American uses 80 to 100 gallons of water per day, but most of that is for showers, laundry, and other non-essential uses. Break. During an emergency, people usually reduce their usage dramatically and focus only on essential needs. We have a daily limit for our household that includes personal consumption and limited hygiene, as well as a group cooking and cleaning allotment. So each person knows those limits, so there are no surprises on water usage when the emergency hits. Now, how long will stored water last? Commercial bottled water can last a long time if stored properly. Water stored in clean, sealed food-grade containers is commonly recommended to be rotated every 6 to 12 months. The biggest threats to stored water are heat, sunlight, and contamination from dirty containers. Break. Water should always be stored in a cool, dark location away from chemicals and fuel. I personally store water in 5 and 7 gallon containers and 55-gallon drums in a cool, dark basement. I have tested the water in these containers after 3 years of storage without any problems, though most preparedness guidelines still recommend periodic rotation. Now, where to find water if supplies run low? You need to know ahead of time where you will get your replacement water from. If stored water begins to run low, there are several possible sources. Natural sources include rivers, streams, lakes, rainwater, and snow or ice. Great. There are also water sources inside many homes that people often forget about. Examples include hot water heaters, toilet tanks, not the bowl, melted ice from freezers, and even liquids from canned fruits or vegetables. Any water from unknown sources should always be treated before drinking or storing. Don't store untreated water and keep the containers that will have untreated water in them separate from your treated water containers to prevent cross-contamination. It is also important to have a plan for when you will begin replenishing your stored water supply. Break. Start looking for replacement water sources early. For example, some people begin refilling their water supply when they reach half of their stored water supply, rather than waiting until they are nearly out. Now watch the expanded presentation on our YouTube channel for a better understanding and more information on this topic at youtube.com/@prepnet-talk2me. There is definitely additional information for this one. Next week, we'll continue talking about water preparedness and cover rain catch systems, how to tell if water may be contaminated, and how to filter and purify water. If you have any questions on what we've discussed here or anything about prepping, please ask during the roundtable or send your question to prepnetch14@gmail.com and enter question in the subject line. With that, back to deck control.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Pretty good opener for our water prepping here. So thank you very much for that. I've got quite a few notes tonight, and I will be checking out the YouTube channel as well. But we'll do a quick check at this time. Do we have anybody that would like to register for the net? Please call now. All right. Well, we'll just move on down the list here. Donna in Montana. Donna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great tonight. I hope everyone else is as well. My comment is on finding water, outside of what you've stored. Don't assume. I found out many years ago, that just because you come across a quick-moving stream where the water looks clean, you cannot assume that it is clean. You have to treat it because you can get very, very sick.
I hate to talk about this kind of stuff when it comes to water, but we also need to look at things like over the last couple of years, all the train wrecks that we've had with what they call the forever chemicals that's seeped into the ground that is now in the groundwater all over the U.S. So that is very important. Yes, I can't wait till next week when we start looking at the treatment of the water. So that is a very, very important step, Donna. Do you have any questions tonight or any other comments?
Just when you're looking to store water for yourself and your family, don't forget your little fur babies either.
Yeah, that's very, very important too. We would have to hold more water than most people just because of that. We've got 3 dogs, 6 snakes, we have a lizard, and we also have a 75-gallon fish aquarium with an Oscar and quite a few pleco in there. So we would definitely have to look into storing more than what our family needs if we wanted to consider all the pets. So that's very true. But all right, we'll sneak on down to Mudflap in Colorado. Hey Mudflap, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Just like my fur baby, my still left in my face right now. Um, my question is for storage. What about food grade 5 gallon buckets and the big like 275 gallon IBC tote? Or either one of those options for storage?
Yeah, as long as they are food grade. Any container that is food grade, you can use. You do, again, like I said during the presentation, you need to store it in a cool, if you can do cool, but the important thing is dark place. And you need to make sure that you have cleaned the containers out. I didn't put this in there. There is a product called Star San, and it's a sanitation liquid solution, whatever you want to call it, that's used heavily in making wine. When you make wine, because you're using yeast and things, you have to be extremely clean. Every single thing that it is going to touch the wine mixture has to be totally bacterial clean, or the wine goes bad. And this stuff is not expensive. You get a 1 quart or a type deal, and I mean it's like 1 ounce does like 5 gallons. So just make sure that whatever you're going to put your potable water in is very, very clean. But yes, anything that is rated as food grade, you can store your water in.
Okay, that's my question. I was just worried about how tight it had to be sealed up, and I'm familiar with the Star Stand. I use that for I'm a home brewer. I brew a lot of beer, so I'm familiar with Star Stand sanitizer.
Okay, then you know exactly how to use it, and it's not, and you know a lot goes a long way. And so if you had say a 5 gallon container, you could mix up a gallon of this stuff, throw it in the container, slosh it around, empty the container. Don't throw it out. Empty the container, the Star San out of the container, and you're literally ready to go. You don't need to rinse it or anything, and then you could use that Star San to sanitize another container and so on. So that's good. You know about that. And that is one thing I did not put in any of these presentations, which is, well, that's why people should be here to listen, because you guys might come up with a good question and remind me that I forgot to do something. But let me break real quick. Like I say, I have a combination. I have 5 and 7 gallon jugs, water saving jugs, and that's for the initial. When something goes wrong, it's easy. I don't want to try and get water out of my 55 gallon drums that I have downstairs if it's just a short outage. But the 55 gallon drums, again, it lasts surprisingly long if it is stored in a cool, dry place. And if you watch the expanded presentation, it will show you, and I don't know if it's this one or the next one because I've done so many. It will show you if water gets stale, there are ways to bring it back. And just because if you taste it and it goes, this tastes a little stale, not taste chemically or something like that. It just means that it's lost its oxygen, and you can easily bring that back. So if you watch the expanded presentations, I'll show you how to do that.
You can actually buy food grade 5 gallon buckets at Walmart for like $3, I think, with the lid. That's what I do. I just go to Walmart and buy food grade buckets for home brewing.
Yeah, I use that for for all the wine and stuff that I make. Yeah, those work fine. A tight lid, that's good. You really don't want oxygen getting in. If oxygen can get in, bugs and stuff can get in. And even if that happens, you can still filter that water. So, yeah. So hopefully, and the thing of it is a lot of people don't think about water until they're thirsty. And the fact that most people don't know, 2 or 3 days max if you have no moisture. Now, if you open a can of peaches and, you eat the peaches and you drink the liquid, you are ingesting, water. So your liquid intake doesn't have to be exactly a gallon of its only water. Anything, if you turn around and do coffee, which you would use water for, you open up a can of soda or anything like that, that is part of your daily water need and consumption. And let me just reiterate, since you do home brewing, you probably have a lot of bottles that you put your brew in. So if you store a lot of bottles, empty bottles, clean those, store your immediate need water there. Because you got to store the bottles anyway, and you can't make the bottle smaller than what the bottle already is. And since it's hollow, the water is not going to take up any more space than the empty bottle. So, think about that too.
That's a good idea because I use the big 22-ounce bottles. I don't use the 12-ounce.
Okay, use what they call a growler. Yeah, and that's even better. So you have fewer things. You need to keep those in the original container or the original box they came in, because otherwise they don't stack too well. But yeah, it's you look for every nook and cranny around the house, and anything you can put water in, you should. But it's a thing people often don't think about. So hopefully that answered all your questions.
Sure does. Thank you so much. Back to you next show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mudflap. That brought up some very good conversation there and caused me to want to ask a question. Jim, you're talking about reusing your star sand here. How many times can you reuse that before you do need to get rid of it?
Okay, that's sort of it depends. It depends on how dirty. So if all of the containers you are going to sanitize are already clean, you can use it many times. When I do wine, I'm doing a 5-gallon batch, so I might end up with maybe 4.5 that's going to be bottled. And if I'm putting it in 16-ounce bottles, that's a lot of bottles. And just a quart of the solution, the mixed solution, I can turn around and sanitize every one of the bottles. I can sanitize the 2 5-gallon fermenters that I use, the first ferment and then the second ferment. I can sanitize the third 5-gallon container that I put it in to let things let it clarify, and all of the utensils that are used. And I could probably still use that 1 quart of solution. So if you look at the bottle might cost $30. Don't let that oh my God, that's too expensive. That's going to actually last you a long time.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, I myself use star sand as well quite a bit, so that's why I was asking. I was going to see what you were going to say to that. So we do reuse it here for our home brewing purposes as well. So Yeah. I didn't think about it for water storage though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's instead of instead of using soap and water and all that, although your water jugs you shouldn't have to unless you set them out where they turn around and they get light and they actually start growing algae and stuff. Then you've got to make sure you use bottle brush or whatever you get in there. 55-gallon drum is kind of hard to do that because you would need a big bottle brush with a really long handle, and I'm sure somebody makes them, but I've never seen one. So, but if you constantly rotate your water or use it or whatever, and I'll just throw in another little quick tip here. Hold on, I can't even talk. Is if you are rotating your water and you find, oh, I have a 55-gallon drum of water, don't just dump it. Use it to water your garden. You can use it for many other things if you're going to rotate it. But like I said, I had water stored in 5-gallon buckets, clean 5-gallon buckets, for 3 years inside my dark basement. And when I decided, okay, I'm going to turn around, I'm just going to use this to water my garden. Every time I opened up one of the 5-gallon buckets, I looked in, the water was absolutely pristine, crystal clear. And I thought, let me try it. And I tried it, and it didn't even taste stale. It was just as good as the day I put it in. So how you store it is super, super important.
Copy that, sir. Definitely, definitely. I'm going to check real quick though, Jim. Do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net? Please go ahead. Okay, well, what we will do then is we will check. Do we have any announcements tonight? Okay, I'll make a quick announcement then. Tomorrow night on Channel 23, the Space Channel, come check this out. Conspiracy Theories and Ghost Stories with the Red Bear. We'll be diving into Dogman tomorrow night. I'll be bringing some notes with me and a little bit of a backstory about the Dogman. So we'll focus on that. Please come check that out. Again, 6 p.m. Eastern every other Monday night. Tomorrow will be the second time around. Please come check that out. Thanks a lot, guys. Jim, do you have any last thoughts, comments, or questions for the group tonight?
Yeah, I'll throw a couple in there. One, I did listen to last week. I did not participate, but I did listen. It was interesting. I thought it was pretty good. It was very interesting. So it'll be interesting to listen to that tomorrow. And just to let you know, we did try our first batch of homemade soap after 4 weeks of curing. It surpassed all expectations, quite frankly. And we still need to test the 6-week and 8-week cures to see if there's any difference. But what was tested at the 4-week thing was this is going to be the soap from now on. This is vastly superior to any store-bought soap. And it's a whole bunch cheaper, too.
Well, thank you very much for that heads up, Jim. Really appreciate that. So, and I'm curious to see what you come up with at the 6-week and 8-week marks as well. So, thank you for the updates on the soap. We've actually got to try to make some soap between work and playing with radios lately. I've been a little bit busy myself and need to find some time to commit to that.
It didn't take long. We made 3-bar test deals. We bought some soap molds. I bought this pack of 9 soap molds, and it has 6 square bar molds in it. They're 4-ounce bars. They were like $10. It was ridiculously low price. I thought, well, what the heck? Instead of buying this big bread loaf type size thing. And once I got the recipe, you do all that research. It took about an hour to hour and a half to weigh get all the ingredients weighed, the tallow melted, prepare the lye solution, which should not be a scary thing at all. Put it in the deal, mix it, and then blend it with a stick blender and get it to a particular thing they call trace. And then pour it in, and like no more than an hour and a half, just to give you an idea of roughly how much time you're going to have to put aside.
Copy that. That don't sound too bad at all. So, yeah, we'll start getting that around here, and I'll try to start working on that. I think that's a pretty good idea. Also, ordering that mold with the 9 molds versus having an ungodly amount. It's not like you're Johnson and Johnson or anything like that, correct? All right, guys. Do we have any last questions or announcements on tonight's net? Any questions, comments, or concerns? Please go ahead. Okay, well, with that, I would like to thank everybody for joining the Red Bear Net here on the Prepper Channel, Channel 14. Jim, I would like to say thank you for the presentation. Very good information tonight. Really appreciate that. And I can't wait to get into next week. So with that, I would like to thank everybody for joining the net and registering. Let me give a short break. If you were sitting in the background monitoring this week and did not register, maybe next week will be your week to register. If you would like to monitor, that's absolutely fine. Just during registration, you just let us know that you want to monitor. We'll mark you down and we won't pick on you. So that will not be a problem. Thanks again, everybody, for joining the net tonight. Montana Jim and myself will be back next week, Channel 14 here, the Preppers Channel, at 6 p.m. Eastern with the second edition of Water Storage. Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We're going to turn the channel back over to regular operations. Everybody have a great weekend and a happy holiday.
A quick break before we do that.
Hey, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, we've asked for guest presenters. That's how we learned about this tallow soap thing. So if anybody out there is listening that they've done something in the way of prepping that you want to share, you might think, oh, that's not a big deal, but we all are learning little tips and tricks. So stuff that you've done could be of actually quite useful value to other people. So I would request that. The other thing I would request is we're getting near, not really super near, but near enough to the topics that I came up with off the top of my head. So if you could go watch all the videos we've already done and then make a request or suggestions of what other things we should cover. Because there might be something I'm not thinking about that we should cover, and I should start getting, doing the research and see if we could, get some of those questions and create a presentation for that particular topic. So I would appreciate that. Okay, I'll let it go back.
Copy that, Jim. Thank you very much. I think you got a good couple of points there. Maybe there is something that's being missed, or maybe you would like to address a topic that we've already covered and dive in even deeper, or go another direction with it. So if you've got any ideas, definitely send an email in and let us know about that. So I did have my notes on that with the email address. Go figure. moving everything around, I lost it in the process.
You had to pick up the radio. Yeah, the email address is prepnet hold on. See? I can't even remember. It's prepnetch14@gmail.com. And, ask your question, make a suggestion, things of that nature. If there's something, ask, are we going to cover that in the future? Or that, hey, I want to cover this. And if you can be even kind of specific, because maybe there's, instead of something real super general, we can, focus a little bit more on something that will, actually answer your questions. So anyway, prepnetch14@gmail.com.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jim, and everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Sunday.